Hey guys, so Blumhouse is releasing a new Halloween this Friday, so I thought I would do a top 5 list of my top 5 favorite movies in the Halloween franchise. I've loved this series since I was a kid, and my thoughts have kind of grown and changed with each film throughout the years, so let's do this. So number 5 is Halloween 2007, which is a remake of the 1978 classic, and it's directed by Rob Zombie, who was supposed to put this franchise back on track. I remember being so pumped for this film. I was on bloodydisgusting.com every day looking up any little bit of filming or casting news, and I was waiting for this film. The results are kind of a mixed bag. Rob Zombie clearly loves the original film, keeping a lot of the music and a lot of the story. This film was kind of half Michael Myers' backstory and half recreating the events of the original film. There's some pretty good scenes, but most fans like myself did not like the backstory and did not like Michael Myers' reason for killing being boiled down to the fact that he had a crappy childhood. Plus the fact that this film can be pretty mean-spirited sometimes, which isn't always fun to watch. The beginning half with the new backstory probably won't sell some fans, but once it gets into familiar territory with some of the scenes that we know, I like seeing the recreation of them, and I think he has an interesting take. Number 4 is Halloween 2, which is a direct sequel to the original, just released 3 years after in 1981, and it picks up right where we left off, where Michael Myers escaping Dr. Loomis after attacking young Laurie Strode and killing her friends. Laurie is taken to a nearby hospital where Michael eventually follows and wreaks havoc. We have a lot of returning cast members in this, including Jamie Lee Curtis as Laurie Strode and Donald Pleasence as Dr. Sam Loomis. Halloween 2 is not terrible, but it definitely fails to live up to its predecessor, blending in with the other 1980s slashers of the time in which the original Halloween inspired. The hospital setting is definitely a fun change, and it's fun to see Michael Myers do his thing in there, but Laurie is stationary most of the time, and a lot of the new side characters are just not that interesting. Plus, in this film, we get the revelation that Michael and Laurie Strode are brother and sister, which is why he keeps on chasing after her, a concept that was created by original creator John Carpenter. He boils it down to a night with some alcohol and some writer's block. I remember seeing this for the first time and I thought that it was a genius concept, but it also renders future sequels pretty problematic, and I just don't know if it was the best concept to go with. I do like how in the new one, they are not counting the second movie, so they will not be related. And I like that. I like that I have the choice to watch. I like that Halloween is kind of a choose-your-own-adventure horror series. Things do pick up towards the third act of the film and get pretty tense and lead to a fiery finale, which is supposed to put an end to the Michael Myers story for good. Right? Or not. Number 3 is Halloween 4, The Return of Michael Myers, which was released a decade after the original and 7 years since we saw Michael Myers on the big screen in 1988. They did try to make a Halloween 3 in 1983 with Season of the Witch, which was meant to be the start of an anthology series and make the Halloween films just different things every movie that were set around Halloween time. It's an okay film, but I don't think it got the box office returns they were necessarily looking for, so they put Michael Myers back in the movies. Danielle Harris plays young Jamie Lloyd, daughter of Laurie Strode, who we are told was killed in a car accident a couple years ago. Jamie now lives with foster parents and her older foster sister Rachel, and she just wants to go trick-or-treating. But recently escaped Michael Myers, who's been in a coma since part 2, finds out that he has a niece and he goes on the hunt for her. I love Halloween 4 because you can tell they're trying to go back to the franchise's roots. It has a lot of tonal and plot similarities to the original, and I like to think that they were trying to go for maybe even like a soft reboot. You also have Donald Pleasence returning to the role of Dr. Sam Loomis from the original, which gives this film kind of heritage and history of the first one in it, which makes you feel like it's really connected. The film ends with this amazing ending where Jamie looks to be taking the mantle from her uncle, but, you know, Halloween 5, which we're not talking about, did not fulfill that promise, but at the time, that ending was awesome. That mask, though, that mask is cheap, guys. It's cheap. Number 2 is Halloween H2O, 20 years later. 2018 isn't the first time Jamie Lee Curtis returned to the Halloween franchise. 2 years prior, in 1996, the horror classic Scream came out in theaters and revitalized the slasher genre, and the writer of that took his shot at Michael Myers. Now, this film ignores all of the previous sequels and is a direct sequel to the first 2 films only. Laurie Strode is under witness protection program and has a son, and she's also the headmistress of a private school in California. So somehow Michael finds out where the nurse from the first two films lives and finds the paperwork of where Laurie Strode is now. He also kills that nurse and kills a young Joseph Gordon-Levitt. That skate to the face is so intense. And he heads out to their private school to find Laurie. I love the tone of this film. Late fall in the 90s is so beautiful, and the film is just a beautiful looking film. I like how this film retconned all of the other sequels because it got so messy with the different things they were trying to explain Michael's killing with, and this just brings it back to the basics. The film pays such homage to the original, and it's like a love letter to John Carpenter and Deborah Hill. It's so awesome seeing one of the iconic original horror heroines stand up to her monster and take her power back. I just get excited thinking about it. To me, the ending is awesome, and I would have left it there. They did make a sequel to this, and it's pretty horrible. Maybe bottom of the list. Pretty close, if not. So, number one on my top 5 list for the Halloween franchise is, let me think about it. Could it be Halloween Resurrection? No. Could it be H2, Rob Zombie's Halloween 2? No, maybe it's Halloween 6, The Curse of Michael Myers. No, you know what it is? It's Halloween 5, The Revenge of Michael Myers. That has to be the best one. Ah! What are you doing here? Oh! Are you sure there was that one movie where... Oh, okay. Well, you heard it from Michael Myers. The number one best movie in the Halloween franchise is John Carpenter's original 1978 classic, Halloween. So, Halloween tells the tale of young Michael Myers, who on Halloween night 1963 brutally stabs his sister to death. He's then put into a mental institution where he then escapes years later. Followed by his psychiatrist who is trying to apprehend him, Michael continues his murderous tirade against a group of teenagers in his hometown. Michael starts killing off all the teenagers one by one until all who's left is a smart, meek, but resourceful babysitter named Laurie Strode, who's running away from Michael, which leads to this terrifying finale. Of course, this movie is number one. It inspired so much that came after. It's like the granddaddy of slashers. Even though there was some important films like Psycho and Black Christmas beforehand, but Halloween really put it on the map and changed horror history forever. The cinematography is gorgeous. The music is simple but effective. It really adds this eerie tone, and the Halloween theme will stand the test of time. Most people know the Halloween theme even if they haven't seen a Halloween movie. If you watch the movie today, it might seem kind of basic and slow, but keep in mind that this is the first time we've seen a lot of these tropes of horny teenagers getting murdered or a masked killer with a knife. You see those in a lot of movies in the 80s and 90s afterwards, but there wasn't that many movies or any movies that really did that up until that point. And Halloween just made it iconic. The Michael Myers mask is iconic. Originally, it was a William Shatner mask that they turned inside out and they spray painted. I think it's such an iconic mask in horror history because it's so blank, so you as the audience really project your fears onto Michael Myers' face, and it's basically anything that you want it to be. The movie will always work on this basic level of when you're home alone and you think that there could be someone staring at you through the window, or you think someone's in your house, or something like that. Halloween will always work as that original stalker in a quiet neighborhood, and I feel like a lot of us can identify with those fears. I love this film, and watching it at different times in my life, I find different meaning in a lot of it. I think this film will continue to be a classic, and I think it's incredibly important to film history. So, that was my top 5 for the Halloween franchise. Can't wait to go see the new Halloween this weekend, and I'll be sure to have a review on it next week. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.
You know, it's Halloween. I guess everyone's entitled to one good scare, huh?